Hello and welcome to the next chapter called Cloud. And as you can imagine, we're gonna speak about the cloud, about the Kubernetes, about the AWS, Lambda, and more stuff. But firstly, of course, you need to know how to build container images. We already saw this a little bit previously in our, I think, core videos. So I showed you how to build a Docker container, but there is more to it. And there is different container images that you can build. So let's start with a super simple project. Let me see where I'm gonna. Okay, so I'm in my Quarkus course root folder, and we're gonna use this default Quarkus Maven plugin create. And then the project group ID is tagged now, artifact ID called containers. We have a weather resource, I use it always, and the path will be weather. And last thing, of course, is the I'm adding one extension called the container image zip. So I think zip stands for Java image building, but the idea is that it builds specifically Java optimized containers or images that have separate layering. So there is a separate layer for libraries, a separate layer for the code logic and all the stuff. And because of this, it's super fast in the build process. And yeah, you can try it out. It's really helpful. So it's still Docker. You still get the Docker image, but it's just helpful to have something like this. So yeah, so let's create this project and open it up in IntelliJ IDEA. All right, so open up the IDEA project that's in the meanwhile. Let's create a Docker registry. So we'll start up the Docker container that holds the registry. So we'll use this as as a registry for our project. For now, I don't want to push it anywhere, so we'll just use this, the Docker registry that's running. So we have one registry here, and let's go to our IntelliJ IDEA, and you can quickly look through the our containers POM.xml. So we only have this one different extension here, Quarkus container image zip. And so we won't touch anything here. So you can see it as this. So you can see that we have a path weather resource, and then we have a get hello, which will return a hello and explain. You can also have this. Don't forget that we have this Docker files as well here, and of course you have native image as well. So there is, like, you can see the difference. So yeah, so let's create our first Docker container, and this can be done in a really easy way. You just call the main package, and then you define one additional property called Quarkus container image build equals true, and you just execute it, and it will do its job, and it will build a container. So container by its default will be as named. The name will be as your project name. So this will be corresponds, so the version of the project will be a version of the image, and then the artifact will be, of course, the name of the image. And yeah, so let's wait. You can see that we, with this one parameter, we execute our zip process with this, and yeah, you can see that it's ready. I think it's not the native image, because we used the normal packaging, but it's more than enough. So you can see in the Docker PS that Docker images. So we have here Dmytro containers, right? 1.0 snapshot, then we have an image ID and all this stuff. So this is exactly what we expect to have. So we can also add additional property into application properties, so that we can also publish it to our registry. So I think that's this line. So we have Quarkus container image registry equals localhost 5000. So if it will be different, so you can specify Docker hub, for example, and push it directly to the hub. if you want to, if it's public image, of course, or you have a or you paid, otherwise it will be public. So you need to remove this HTTP. This was a wrong part of it, and now because it's also local, we don't have the SSL, we'll need to add the Quarkus container image insecure. So this will give the ability to push to the registry that doesn't have the SSL. So yeah, this should work for us. So we have a local host 5000, and then we have an insecure true. So now instead of using the build, you just put here a push, and it should push the image itself to our registry. Let's see if it will work. Alright, so you can see that it pushed container image to localhost 5000 Dmytro containers 1.0 snapshot, which is exactly what we want. If it was Docker IO, for example, the hub or something like this, you don't need to specify this insecure flag to true. By default it's false, so if you don't have it and you're trying to push to your own registry, it won't work, of course. You can also call this 5000 localhost 5000 v2/catalog if it's local registry, and it should update. Yeah, so you saw that there was no repositories, and now there is a Dmytro containers. So that means that it's working correctly as expected. So yeah, so this is the first part. We can also change our container zip to container image Docker. This will give us a Docker builder, yeah, so let's refresh it. So now it's updated, and we can do the same magic that we've done previously. We can also specify probably a new version. Let's say that we updated the version 1.1. So by default it will use the artifact ID and version, and then I think the login of your Docker or something like this. So yeah, so now we have a Docker Docker container builder, so we can just execute the same logic again, and yeah, so we will use this container image build, and as you will see, this will open up our Docker processor, and the Docker processor is no different from the, we just take the image and execute all the steps that we have. So you can see that all of this going from our Docker probably GVM. Yeah, and it's working fine. So let's wait before it finishes, and yeah. Oh yeah, and don't forget to use a clean, so you can call manually clean package to remove all the unnecessary jars, because this Docker container looks for a single jar in a package folder, and you have more than one. So let's rebuild this one more time. Okay, you can see that it's finished correctly. So if it failed for you, don't forget to use a clean as well. Yeah, so now we can do the same thing, but with the push, sorry, and this will push the new container image to our Docker registry, and it should show you that it's so if it will be okay, you can see that the push refers to repository localhost 500 Dmytro containers, and you can see that it's pushing all the stuff that we have, and yeah, build success. Perfect. Okay, so now you know how to use two different container builders, one of which is Docker and the other is Zip. There's also a source to image, or S2I, that provides you ability to build containers for the OpenShift, but we'll look into it in a different in OpenShift section, right? So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.